Okay, good night or good evening. What's the time? Good evening, almost good night. So a few things should be discussed, and we'll take an intermission from our theater show. And actually, there are several things that should be discussed, both with regards to history and science and the starships and whatever I do now. And I feel that there are quite a bit of issues that are not particularly related. Just, I have like a things to say in all fronts. So maybe I'll just, I can't categorize it under like, one title or one saga even or series. So I'll just speak my mind, So first, there's a question, so if the cherubs, they only like to do flash, why should you, conduct a theater show, presumably that in center a living person, flesh and blood, and also a neighbor in the hostel. So I would say the following. First of all, when there are three photographs or three symbols, it always means all of them. And you should just find the type. And whatever type that you will actually define for this person, they all was the same destiny. Now, more to the point, it's not that I'm not like if I'm like, if I feel hunted and like animal that is prey to predators, it's only makes sense that I will try to make my situation a little better, especially since everybody else are only moving their mouths and their tongues. I need to live. So yeah, sometimes you need to focus on one person, even not if it's like as a representative of a group. And I will explain why. I'll tell you, kind of like an episode of my life that I'm not proud of at all. It wasn't something that I ever thought like that will happen, but it did happen, and I found myself like in a position that I felt that I'm not myself, like that I'm alienated to myself. But it's worth mentioning because first of all it happened, and also it bears some consequences to the current situation. So as I said, I had like the leased Model 3 Tesla from like December 2022 to August 2023. No, December 2021 to August 2022, and then I had a total loss with a serious accident with a truck that I'm sure that they just wanted to kill me. I should just say that in the many months before that, many times the people of the Shabak or the Mossad, whatever, took control over the car while I was driving, even when my daughters were in the car. It's possible to do it with the Model 3 Tesla. That's one of the disadvantages of a smart car. I didn't know it in advance. Like, they can just control your wheel, and this is amazingly scary. And they even do it when the children, my children are in the car. And the reason to do it is because they want to rape you or to abuse you in unbelievable ways. So eventually it was a total loss, and you see I still have this thing like in my belly. You see the sign like there? Hopefully it will disappear sometime. Just to say, it was really serious. This is from the pillow, air pillow. I didn't break anything. It's difficult for me to break a bone. I actually never broke a bone in my life. No bone at all. Like in almost 40 years, I never broke a bone. So I didn't break any bone. But yes, the air pillow, yes. She did it. It did it to me, and they took me to the hospital, and of course, and released me the same day. But the car was, completely crushed. Like, total. But before that, there was like 8 or 9 months that I drove the car a lot. All around Israel, many times to Eilat, and even to Eilat and back to Shom, which is in the same day, and sometimes even to Eilat and to the north, like to almost to Ramat HaGolan in the same day. Continuously. Done many trips, and it had all sorts of meaning, and much of it is actually documented in the Twitter account, and before that in the Evernote account, but much is in Twitter, a lot of it actually. I mean, most of it is in the Twitter, which is our videos, but in Hebrew, but still. Worthwhile maybe to check it if you have access. Probably you don't, because I'm not really connected to the public internet. And I should say that I learned a lot during this time, and had many experiences, both from empirical gathering of data and also divinations and spiritual, speaking with God. But I mean, there was a very dark side to this time, and the fact that almost every time that I drove, just out of Shom, in any kind of highway or between cities, it was always that after some time a bunch of cars, sometimes 100 or even more, just accompanied me and created manufactured the traffic jam. And now I know that they did it in order to and then I felt tired, and I almost this was unbelievable torture. They did it in order, to use the bicycle mechanism to infect me and to take the robots, as it can be done remotely, and also just to torture me. And sometimes, I there was one time or two times that I actually, fell asleep on the wheel. It was done in a traffic jam, so presumably not as dangerous as in a highway, but in high speed, but still it was amazingly scary. Amazingly scary. And many times I was very, very tired and I can say that not only in retrospect, even at the time I understood that I risked my life. Of course, with my daughters I was very, very careful, and we've done minimum driving, but when I was alone, yes, I knew that I'm in a way testing God, in a way that something that you shouldn't do. You should not לא תנסה את אדוני אלוהיך. Famously, the first chapter in the first Evangelion, that the Satan tells Jesus to jump or something from a cliff. So it tells in Deuteronomy, it's you should not test God. And it's true, and I felt it almost I test God, that it helped me, but I don't have a good excuse for that, but it was very important for me, to get out of the house. Should be said that inside the apartment I was always tortured by the American heads, the American advisors and consultants that all around that use the oven to electrocute me all the time. It was unbearable inside the apartment, but also I wanted to travel because it was very important to me for many reasons. But also it was very dangerous. So I just hope that I've done I didn't die, and eventually the car accident was not in one of the travel, but actually close to home, relatively close to home, in Ramat Sharon, just in a regular drive. But yes, this was, I cannot really justify it. It's just not completely. God was with me, and I didn't any accident, didn't hurt myself or any other person, but many times I was almost fell asleep on the wheel because of what they've done to me, these people. But I needed to travel. I needed it and I learned a lot during this time. Anyway, I quickly learned kind of a method to get this predator out of my way, at least for some time. After if it's long drive, after an hour and a half or 2 hours, they repeatedly, you should repeatedly do it. But if it's traffic, if it's a manufactured traffic jam, you just you just close the windows and first of all, if you smoke inside the car while the windows are closed, it helps a lot. And I didn't understand why. I smoked cigar inside the car. The car was like an ashtray. It was like a new Model 3, but it was it was much worse than that, because it was, I also painted that in the field, in lots of places in Israel. And so it was always and I painted on big canvases, in many colors and solvents, and So I mean, even though it was a new car, a brand new car, it was always like like it looked like from the inside like it was 20 years old, like trash car, like because it was always full of ash from cigars and also paints and like turpentine and solvents and and smears, because I painted outside, and I mean it was important for me, even though I'm not particularly healthy for the works, but I mean many of it actually survived and still here with me, of course. And how do you say can? Like I mean, like the tripod that is used, for painters. Like so, I had like huge tripods that I mean were always in the car, like laying. So the front seat that is like not like of the passenger is always like down, so it will like be able to get inside the Model 3 like in narrowly. So always like pieces of wood and canvas and oils and turpentine, solvents, and above all ash, tons of ash from the cigars, because I understood it actually helps to get the predators out. And much later I actually understood why. I mean it's actually I mean I didn't understand why, but I mean that it just helped. And this relates both to their to some kind of attack that they are doing. I mean using like something like laser. I mean, I've talked about it in the past. Like, I mean, it's a concentrated rays that they use on you, and it just doesn't work if the car is full of smoke. So it's helpful, and also because of the bicycle mechanism, because I mean it makes them very difficult to breathe, because the bicycle mechanism. I mean, for people that have many needles in their body, I mean. They suffer what I suffer, and I mean this is amplified tremendously by the presence of the starships. So now it's actually much more present. I mean, so now even that people that have relatively little amount of neurons suffer from this, from the torture that the Israelis are doing to me. So why do they keep paying the money in order to torture me and to consult me and advise me? Because they hate God. Because they hate God. It's the same thing all over the 20th century. I mean, they always paid tons of money to the Israelis in order for them to torture me, while they knew that they are also being tortured, and they did it, and they still do it because they hate God, and they understand that this is a war between God and the people of Israel, and they always consistently chose Israel. This is reality, and it's still reality to this day, because it didn't change. It's now actually more true than ever because of the starships, and so now more than ever. I mean, but yeah, they still pay money for the Israelis, for the American heads to torture me, while they know that, I mean, they create worms in their body and they cannot eat, and they say that they fast all the time, and because presumably it helps them with the. It's so funny that, I mean, people, I mean, they understand that they have worms in their body. I mean, they can see it, and it's actually not always even like biological worms. Sometimes it's even synthetic worms, which is even more horrible. And they devise all sorts of like ways how to get rid of it. And presumably one of the most important ways is fasting. And I understand people are doing it all over the world. And I mean, it's able to see that, I mean, people in the near me do not eat, and it's quite. I mean, it's not very difficult to see that they don't eat. Why don't they? What do they eat? They are big men. Why don't they eat? They don't, and it's not just here in the hostel. I mean, when other intelligence surrounded me, it was like it as well. I mean, so obviously, I mean, they're all infected with the worms, and they think that that's the way to get rid of it. And they also always hate it when I eat. Actually, they make the body noise, and they shout when I eat, because presumably I should not eat as well, because presumably when I eat, I mean, because they want my body to be clean so they can infect me with more diseases. This is so ridiculous, because I have all sorts of I don't have worms in my body, but I have microscopic trillions of microscopic germs in my body that they themselves placed in it. I mean, they do it to me, and then they expect me to fast so my body will be clean so they can do it to me again. So no, I eat whatever I want, and they're always very angry about it. So, but all of that is so stupid. I mean, what you really, in order for your body to get rid of the worms, what you need to do is to tell the Neros to kill their worms. The worms did not hatch from the Neros. The Neros are not eggs, as some idiot people think. No, the Titan females do not have eggs of worms in their body that you ate. No, this is so stupid. I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, what do you think? That, I mean, sentient creatures that look like human beings have, like, eggs in their body that, I mean, worms are hatching for it? This is stupid. No, these are robots that can create life forms. And my robots, the yellow ones, that can create tremendous amount of life forms, even gigantic, I mean, even huge ones, like, you know, like a Full Metal Jacket, which is a huge metallic wasp made of metal. But the red ones can also create life forms, and that's what they do. And mostly they do it because, I mean, I'm infected with these things by the Israelis, and mostly I overcome it quickly. But I mean, because of the bicycle mechanism, people all over the world are having these worms. So the way to actually, I mean, treat the worms is not with everlasting, you know, like you know, never-ending fasting. The way to do it is to tell the Neros, kill these worms. So how can you do it? You can't. Maybe the Titan females can do it to their own bodies. Maybe. And if you want to learn how, just watch the videos in this channel, because it's documented. All of this is documented in extreme lengths. I mean, you know, all these issues like of creating, how to create life forms, how to kill life forms, to reduce it, and the various containers, the various, like, you know, symbolic meaning of the containers. I'm not going to TLDR or to repeat it because it's repeated tremendous amount, like, lengths in this channel. But humans cannot do it at all. And Titan females perhaps can do it, perhaps not. I'm not even sure, but maybe they can do it to their own robots. So what can humans do? They can ask a person, I mean, that can control the robots to do it for them, like myself. So do you want me to kill the worms in your body? So I mean, it's kind of like a joke. I mean, we are supposedly in the same side. Like, I mean, like, we fight together. I mean, what's your conceptualization of the situation? I mean, you know, this is the humans. I mean, like, you know, I spoke about it previously today. I mean, earlier today. Like, I mean, the complete detachment, like, you know, the complete detachment of, you know, of like, you know, you don't, like, I mean, you just refuse to understand what's in front of you. I mean, the situation. We are not on the same side at all. You torture me all my life. You take my children from me. You infect me with diseases. You put me in jail for crime I did not commit indefinitely. We are not on the same side. I will most certainly not tell the Neros to remove the worms. Even though it should be said that now with the Starship it might take like seconds, because they can energize the Neros. So I mean, anything that the Neros can do, they can do much faster now. So probably, I mean, you can kill your bodies of all the worms very tremendously quickly. But why, again, why, I mean, why do you think that I will help you with that? I mean, this is beyond me. I mean, this is probably, you know, the ego fantasy, you know, the mass psychosis. I mean, you don't really understand, like, I mean, on what side did you take in this war? I mean, and like, in what side I stand? I mean, I am on my side and the side of my daughters. You are on the other side. I mean, you are in the side of the Israelis that torture me to unbelievable extent. We are most definitely not on the same side. No, we are not. So what do we need to do? You need to stop. I mean, being you. I mean, just stop this thing. I mean, you need to look into a mirror and see the monster that, I mean, that's looking at you, and understand that you're monsters, and that you pay money to unbelievable Nazis, and you need to stop this insanity. And then you need to close the mouth. And by that I do not mean not to eat. You need to stop discourse. You need to understand that the speech is the enemy of humankind more than ever now. You need to stop this madness. Stop speech. Halt all speech completely. And move arms and legs. What do you think? I mean, I need to be rescued, me and my daughters, from the Nazi prison. This cannot be done using arms or using mouths and tongues. Only arms and legs. I mean, you do not understand. This is crazy. You really do think that we are on the same? We are most certainly not on the same side of this war. No. no. You started a war with the cherubs, and I am the representative. Even in times of war, the representative can still speak to the enemy, but I am in my side, not in your side. You started the war with my side. Why is it so difficult to understand? I do not know. It seems pretty simple, actually. Anyway, all the issues with the worms can be solved, especially now with the Starship, probably in minutes, if not hours. But of course, you need to be on the side of the person that can do it, not to fight him. And now you are on the side that fights him and takes everything from him. And if this, you have such some kind of resistance to this very simple fact, and I don't know how to. I don't know. Again, it's the ego bacteria. It's something. We don't have medicine for this bacteria. We don't know how to cure this ego. You need to stop being on the side that is in war with us if you want us to be in your side. You cannot torture us without infect us with all sorts of diseases, take our daughters from us, take our money from us, torture us without end, surround us with American heads that are all pedophile freaks that torture us around the clock, and still think that we are on the same side, because this is psychosis. This is psychosis. Detachment from reality. Anyway, regarding this kind of aside from smoking inside the car, which is not always possible, and how much can you smoke actually? There was, while you were driving, I discovered that there is a way to actually, make all of them disappear. By the way, very loud music, like terrible music, like mostly Metallica and Pantera, also works, and this is of course because of the bicycle. Not that they are afraid of it, just because of the bicycle mechanism, because they are so close to you and they are all full of neurons, and so when you crash sometimes I couldn't hear. My hearing was impaired for hours and even days after that. But yes, it also works because of the bicycle mechanism. But there is another way to do it, and this doesn't work when you are part of a traffic jam, but it works when there is a slow, when they are all around you, but not they do not form traffic jam. Maybe they can't. It's not always possible. There is still a movement, but they are all around you and they do these attacks. And so there is a way to actually make them disappear for an hour or two at least an hour. And this is something that my father told me when I was very, very young. Maybe it's not the most, it's not the kind of the best advice to young children. I didn't tell it to my own children, But yeah, I remember that I was very young. He told me that if if a bunch of goons is surrounding you and bullying you, like bullies that are bullying you, it can quickly deteriorate to violence, and you are forced in fetal position. The best, my father is a professor to statistics, so it's good in probability in statistics, and also in חקר ביצועים, operational analysis. So from operational analysis point of view, the best course of action, the best strategy is to pick one of them. It doesn't necessarily need to be the biggest one, but it's best if he is the most disgusting or the most hideous. If he's ugly, it's the best. It's best. And pretend that there are no one else besides him, and verbally abuse him, and in the worst way possible, find all the worst thing that you can say to him that will hurt him, and if needed also hit him, but do it ferociously, but just one, pretend that there are no anyone else. And for operational analysis, it's not a lie. He's really a professor emeritus of operational analysis and statistics. It's true. Um, yes, I mean, and also, I mean, one of his expertise is the military operational analysis, all sorts of things that related to artillery and to things like that. And so that's the best course of action. I mean, the best. I mean, of course, the required result is that all of them will go away, and this is like the best probability is with this kind of like a behavior. So I actually tried to do it, and it actually works. So father was right, daddy was right. Like you need to pick one. Like I mean, and it should be one of the hideous. Like I mean, and the hideous are those that have the custom cars with like in leather or all sorts of like custom equipment on it. I mentioned it yesterday. And what you need to do, and this is I mean, and here comes the part that I'm not proud of it, and I really became something that I'm not. I just followed him or her, whatever, the car, like like almost like I mean, and almost like I followed him and like, I mean, I maneuvered that I will be behind him, and just stick to his back, to the back of the car, like I mean, like very to dangerous, like to a dangerous, like I mean, the distance, like I mean, with regards to the speed. And then of course, and then use the honk like of the car. And at some point, I mean, it was like maybe a week or so before the accident. Actually, I mean, it stopped working. The honk of the Model T. It's like, I mean, it's broken. Even though I had it for only 8 months because I've used it so much. Just honk, I mean, continuously. I mean, and like I mean, and follow him. And so what they do is that they try to change lane. So you need to change lane after that, after them, like to just mean to keep. So they try to run away, like I mean, to decrease the speed, so you increase your own speed. And the Model Tesla is actually it's got excellent acceleration in relative to almost all cars in Israel. In Israel, they don't have like very fast cars, and the Model 3. I mean, it's got like the acceleration is superior to almost any car that you can find in Israel. Like I mean, I'm not. I mean, maybe it might be surprising, but that's the way it is. So even very very fast cars. I mean, I had no technical problem in like I mean. Yeah, that's why I told you that I always needed to charge the Tesla. I mean, yeah, because this kind of behavior, I always issue with charging. Yeah, I mean, it drains the battery very quickly. So I just stick to them. Of course, it required some kind of experiment, training. I mean, but so they have other cars that are friends with them. So many times they maneuver like 2 or 3 cars together. So I'll be like so to get me out like of the back of this person. But so then it's even more complicated because you need to even if for a second he managed to run away, you still need to maneuver between the other cars and like after even after 7 minutes stick to him again. And of course if he turns left, you turn left. Well, no matter where you need to drive. And many times actually I follow them until they're home. Now I'm not proud of it, and I thought to myself, Noam, what did become of you? I mean, is that you? I mean, all my life I was like, I imagined myself as as a scholarly person. That I spent my life in libraries. I spent my life reading and in libraries. I'm the last person in Earth. To sort of himself as like such a driver that is even able to do such a things. I always drove very slowly and it wasn't me. Like I became something that I'm not. It was a peculiar episode in my life, but it actually helped because after you leave him, all the rest do not follow you, at least for an hour or two. And if it's a very long drive, you need to do it again. Was it dangerous? It was extremely dangerous. And moreover, it wasn't only dangerous. It was. I really thought to myself, what are you doing? It's so not you. What are you doing? What will become of you? What is this thing? What is this movie that you are? And it happened again. It happened many times, not once or twice or 20 times. Many, many times. I don't have like a lesson to tell. It's just something that happened. All these episodes, it was a dark time in my life. But it's not that after that, it was better. It's only getting darker, but yeah, it helps. It gets them out of your way, and And it should be said that, I mean, when they're after you, I mean, it's dangerous. I mean, they electrocute you and like, I mean, so it's kind of like a dangerous behavior, but it prevents much more dangerous circumstances that, I mean, you must prevent if you actually want to reach your destination, especially if it's a relatively far away destination. So yes, I became this driver that I never thought that I will actually become, but that's what happened. So sometimes you just need to pick the ugliest motherfucker and just, I mean, make his life hell. And this many times it prevents issues with many other people as well. Especially if you live among predators and in a place that there is no law at all, and you know Israel. You understand what's this place? It's a place without any law at all. It's much worse than the Wild West or whatever you have in your mind with regard to lawless places. Okay, so I'll stop here, and in the next video I should discuss the historical issue of the starships, and also, I mean, question with regards to public information or lack of public information regarding the starships, and maybe we'll also discuss history, I mean, of the 20th century with regards to those starships. And maybe after that we'll discuss science, because there are many scientific issues that should be mentioned this time.